You're listening to the Business Essentials Daily Summer Series, the best episodes of 2021. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. COVID-19 has been a digital accelerant, fast-tracking companies' digital communication strategies by an average of 6 years. But what about hospitality, an industry cut off at the knees when the pandemic hit? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. High-tech and hospitality are not words that are too synonymous with each other, but as the hospitality industry puts itself back together, data and automation is playing a significant role in its rebuilding. Paul Hadida is the General Manager of SevenRooms, a fully integrated guest experience platform that helps business owners drive revenue and operate with a lot more functionality. A New York-based business operating for 10 years, SevenRooms launched in Australia in September 2020, post the worst of the pandemic. Paul says COVID was a shock to the hospitality system that initially had people running around like headless chickens. But with opportunities front and centre to mitigate for future disasters, the SevenRooms data-based approach clearly came into its own, delivering elevated customer experiences and transforming relationships with patrons. Paul Hadida explains to me how.
We do that through reservation, we do that through venue management, waitlist, table management, online ordering, and contactless order and pay. And then off the back of that, review aggregation and a fully automated marketing suite.
Now, we know how hard hospitality was hit during COVID and the rolling lockdowns. But if you're not in the industry, you can feel a bit removed from the real impact. Can you explain what it was like on the ground?
It was sort of like headless chickens running around, right? So it was one day you were open and next day that you were closed. But what we saw was resilience. So we saw hospitality operators find a way to make things work. They had a will to support their staff and their families. They realised quickly that they needed to have multi-channel solutions. So not just on-premise dining, they needed to take it off-premise. And then how do they own that relationship with the customer, and how do they get those customers, ordering directly from them? And then once things, eventually we knew things would open, how do we then get those customers to come back in and become regulars inside?
Well, that's right. And with such a shock to the system, businesses are moving quicker than ever to implement digital solutions. What are the opportunities for business owners in the hospitality industry?
So I think what's really exciting is automation. And what we want to talk around is sort of the marketing automation, right? So how do you have a system that understands what your customers do, what your customers want, then can automate the marketing program back to them so that they get served the right marketing. That's a really exciting part. And then, for example, a Spotify, right? So Spotify suggests to you specific music that you may like based on your history. How do we get that into the hospitality industry, in a similar sort of way?
And so paint a picture for us. What does that look like for a hospitality owner?
So that looks like Paul comes once a month to your venue and he likes a specific Merlot when he comes to the venue, and he always gets a tiramisu for dessert, right? So as a restaurateur, when I arrive at venue, if my favourite Merlot is already on the table, or the host says, Paul, it's great to see you again, here's your favourite bottle of Merlot, we've got it on special today. It's an amazing guest experience that separates restaurant from restaurant. And then from there, how can they then use that in their marketing to get me enticed to be able to come back into venue?
And when we think about hospitality, it's not just your favourite brunch cafe or high-end restaurant. How are other parts of the industry getting involved?
This is at all levels, right? And also when you think about how transient the hospitality industry is, the workers coming in and out and changing over, having a system that understands who the customer is, that anyone can pick up and go, okay, Paul, welcome back, and knows all about me, that's really something special. And that can be for a small family-owned 30-seat restaurant up to, a 1,000-seat restaurant.
Okay, so the benefits to businesses and patrons are seeming obvious, but what stats are you seeing that demonstrate increased customer satisfaction and loyalty, which is essentially what you're talking about?
So what we're seeing is that the customers They've been conditioned to understand, to pass over details, whether that was through check-in process or not, but they're opting into marketing. They want to receive information from venues specifically and directly from them. And then, we're seeing uptakes of sort of 40, 50% coming back if they're being served the right information, right? Sort of restaurants offering a win-back solution. So if I haven't been to the venue for 60 days, I'm getting a specific targeted offer to bring me back into the venue. That's getting quite a big take-up.
So it's obviously a booming space with lots of reservation platforms in market. What makes SevenRooms different from, say, The Fork or OpenTable or any of the others?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of differences. Firstly, we're a fully integrated solution. We're a fully white-labelled solution. So it's not about SevenRooms, it's about the restaurant, and it's about how they can white-label our solution to have the best guest experience, right? And it's all white-labelled. There's no third-party marketplace about customers. It's just about the solution for the operator. And our technology is so far advanced because we build just for the operator. So we're trying to think ahead specifically on what the operator needs rather than the two-sided marketplace.
Right. So it can be tailored for each operator if needs be.
For sure, yeah. We've got a great client that's a vegan taqueria in Newtown that operates completely differently to Rock the Bar and Dining in the city, right? But both of them use the system effectively.
Now, does this migration to a more digital, automated approach mean an increase in costs for business owners? How does it impact the bottom line?
Most of the operators already have some sort of solution in place where, they're utilising some form of online diary or some form of system. So it's not going from paper and pen. Very rarely is it now going from paper and pen to digital. And the cost may be there, but what we can show through our automated marketing is a return on investment. So if the cost is there, but you get a certain percentage return on investment, then that far outweighs the cost.
I guess also it's just about putting your energies into different areas. I mean, if you were focused on trying to build a marketing approach that was a bit more hands-on versus one that's automated and you don't have to be as involved, I mean, that kind of leverages itself in a way.
Correct, and not only that, it's not just about the marketing, right? It's about the experience that the guest has. So all of the marketing is tailored on the experience that the guest has. All of that is in my profile within SevenRooms, so the operator can see, how many times I've visited, how much I've spent each time I've come, how many times I've no-showed or cancelled. Maybe that might be an issue. Whether I've reviewed positively or negatively. So that all shows in the system. So when I get there, if I've had a bad experience 4 weeks ago and I'm coming back, that person needs to be switched on to be able to give me a great experience that time to win me back.
Okay, so it's also a way to kind of redeem any issues that may have occurred previously. Sure. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Okay. And so finally, Paul, what is your expectation for the industry and for SevenRooms into the future?
I think we've got a really exciting time. Business has changed a lot. The hospitality is super resilient and is raring to go. Trade is up. Sentiment is up. People want to be back out dining and supporting local business. So it's a really exciting times. For SevenRooms, we're coming up to a year being in Australia. We're in the midst of growing our presence. So we've got a number of roles open to sort of grow out the team. We're working with some amazing customers. We're hoping, obviously, to increase our customer base. So yeah, it's really exciting times. Hopefully the world opens up, we get some tourism back, and that really even spurs that growth on even more.
That was SevenRooms General Manager, Paul Hadida. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.